Hi, y'all. It's Bridget Cuttrell with Real Things Living. Today, my guest is the awesome Rachel Minion. She is the founder of Rockstarr and Moon, which is a marketing company, and the founder of a nonprofit called Beyond Basic Need. Can you say hi, Rachel?
Hey, everybody.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk about your awesome, I should say awesome. You've had some weird adventures like most cancer patients do. I shouldn't say weird, but we have to throw humor in there. Rachel understands that. And I wanted to know that you start your marketing company before or after your cancer. I don't.
I started it before. I created a marketing company because, quite frankly, in 2010, the world was going to hell in a handbasket for the world of printing in Maryland. And we had all of our clients who were printers and we were subcontracting, pieces to them. And the weirdest thing happened. All the government contracts stopped. And in the minute that all the government contracts stopped, one of my biggest customers, Ritz Camera, went bankrupt. The world was in the world of printing shutting down because no government contracts in Maryland, DC, and Virginia means your printing presses aren't running. And so our clients couldn't pay us. And so I had a moment where it's like, oh my God, what do I do? So we had to shut down my parents' company. And out of that rose a marketing company where every small business needs marketing. Every small business needs the ability for somebody to come in and help give them that face, that promotion, that moment where you can bring that out. And it's really cool because it's always given me the ability to add these extra little skill sets and pieces and ways to advance not only myself, but all the community around me and to be able to grow that.
That is a great opportunity. Well, I should say an opportunity. You looked forward and what was going on and how the small businesses, they do need help. And they struggle a little bit because they're trying to do everything. I'm guilty of that. Okay.
All of us are, and
I
marketing your own business sucks.
correct. I can't I'm like you, Rachel. I can help other people. Talking about my stuff, I don't know why is it what it is. I don't know if imposter syndrome is the right reference, but it's interesting how you brought up how your parents had this, working in the print world. My background is that too, and in publishing. And it's just weird. Technology changes all the time, but it's affected that a lot because everything now is digital. But I think that's good. There's good and bad to everything. You just got to embrace it the right way. And you did it, Rachel. You took your experience from that, and now you're helping them from the marketing, I'm assuming digital stuff, right?
Yep, absolutely. And the cool part is because of that, it's also given me the ability and quite frankly, the freedom to then be able to spin up a nonprofit. And the
Yes.
nonprofit is really based in helping people give an actionable thing that you can do when someone's diagnosed with cancer. So we do chemo care kits for anyone across the United States who's been diagnosed with cancer, who is undergoing chemotherapy treatments.
That is really cool, and I'm assuming you are partnered with some, I shouldn't say hospitals, but healthcare systems or not, or how does that work? Curious.
So when you love doing small business marketing, well, I want this to get bigger and do the things. There's also a small moment of time that we have to promote,
Yes.
right? So we spun up the brand 2.5 years ago, not 100% sure what we were going to do. And my girlfriend was creating chemo care kits and we partnered with her so we could make a much bigger impact. And I've been doing all grassroots fundraising through my network. Um, Believe it or not, for all of the fundraising. And I would get care kits out the door by saying in my Peloton Cancer Warriors, all the different Facebook
Right.
groups and breast cancer groups and all the other appendix cancer groups that I'm in, um, I would just say, okay, we're giving these out. You all are welcome. And so far, with that and word of mouth, we've been able to do over 600 kits across the
That's
US.
That's awesome, and those people are going through chemo treatment. They are in a dire those are dire moments when you go in there because 'cause I've had chemo too,
Yep.
and it's very you need some up to be uplifted, right? I was almost said a Debbie
That's it.
Downer, but and I think Rachel and I had talked previously, but I do remember that you people donate stuff to these chemo places, but make sure you're donating the right stuff, and that's what she's doing, and take it from me, don't I know you wanna donate cookies, but don't donate cookies because that's not good for the chemo patients. That's just an example. I came and I donated, um, apples because that's a little healthier in my opinion, because you wanna heal properly from the
Yeah.
chemo, and what your kids are doing are helping them heal, and it's the right thing, and they need to be uplifted. Do you, we'll talk later about this, about stuff you can add to the kid. Do you have like a I'm thinking a coloring journal because that you need to do I mean, that's just something that just popped into my mind because you keeping their mind a little busy and
Yep.
something creative would be helpful, and I think that's something that you've done as well. That's why your marketing agency is called Rockstarr Moon, because you're expressing that creativity, and I think that helps, build curiosity, helps solve, you know, problems for small businesses. Shouldn't say problems, but people need to know about it, and I think every situation is different and what you're offering as a small business. Everybody pushes you gotta do social media, but I don't know if that's the right thing for everybody.
It depends on what your business is,
You're
and
right,
it depends on who your target audience is,
right.
because in so many different facets, we work with B2B. So if you're selling to a business, is there a need for you to spend 75 hours on TikTok? Probably not.
Um,
Now let's figure out where your audience is and what the right message is, and how do we approach them in a way that you also feel insanely credible? And that is the key to being able to not only make the connection, but to be able to grow it.
right, that's important. Who is your audience and where are they gonna be listening? And you, unfortunately, I should say fortunately, you started this and then you got cancer and but you have a lot of I know the resilience is a word that could be overused, but you had the tenacity, you continued, and I just love what you're doing. You're using all facets of your brain. You're being, creative, but you're also being very, logical. Is that the right word?
Thank you. When I was diagnosed with cancer,
Yeah.
it isolated me. And I didn't have this, while I had my support system of my family, the support system of those around me, my friends, coworkers, people that I've worked with for years, even people who my husband had worked with for years, they dropped off. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to say. They didn't know how to approach me. They weren't 100% sure what to do with that diagnosis. And unless you've had cancer or someone really close to you has, you don't know what to do. Like sending in, can I send in a cleaning group? Can I send in dinner for your family? Can I help arrange transportation? Can I do any of these things to make your life easier? Do you need help on dog walks? I can do that. And because everyone disappeared during that point, even some of the closest extended family that we had,
Oh,
that's where I knew that we needed to make a change. And if I could just make one small change in the world, that would be it, because that impact can be felt everywhere. And so that's why we established beyond basic needs. So that way anyone can have that tangible thing that they can do to just give a little bit of support.
I think that's it's so important. That's so sad that people I don't know, they're afraid. They don't wanna offend you maybe. Is that,
Yep.
right
Or
word?
say the wrong
Or
thing.
say the wrong thing, and I think just little things go further than they realize, and I was really it's helpful that I was going through my cancer. I've had it several times, but last one I had, I was a hockey mom. I'm joking about that, but it was the hockey moms that helped me. Not all of them, but some of them, and that was helpful. And I felt guilty to be honest with for some reason I felt guilty for my family. Like why? But I'm sure you felt the same thing. You felt
Yep.
guilty of putting you felt like a burden. I did.
Yeah.
And, but at least you did find, your husband was very supportive. And it's just amazing. Just little things like you said, these cancer, was it beyond, sorry, beyond basic needs.
Beyond basic needs. Yeah.
That's what people, just little things like that just goes a long way. And that's why I think it's so important to just reach out to people. And I guess while we're talking about your beyond basic needs, what kind of cancer did you actually have? Can you share that?
Sure. So I am one in a million. I had appendix cancer. And the crazy part about this is my body saved my life. My appendix burst, it encapsulated. And had that not happened, we wouldn't be here talking today. And the crazy thing, with this story is I was sitting in the middle of New York it was Google or Adobe headquarters for this big Verizon executive conference. I was supposed to be speaking to all these top executives and getting what we were working on discussed and on their agenda. And all of a sudden, couldn't fit in my pants. Like all
What?
of us, like it's like a few pounds just all of a sudden showed up and didn't do anything wrong the night before. I wasn't out drinking till 3 in the morning. I actually went to bed by 9 and went to sleep. I did exactly, what I was supposed to do. I even had a really good, wholesome breakfast that was all organic. So I was thinking, oh my goodness. And then all of a sudden I got nauseous and I was like, so I pull up my Google MD and because I'm a very good doctor apparently. And I started Googling all my symptoms and it said, you're pregnant. Wonderful, but I cannot get through this meeting. So I left the meeting almost immediately. I hopped on the next plane back to Chicago. I get stuck in traffic, of course, to get all the way home. Now I'm craving donuts. I don't eat donuts. I haven't eaten donuts in 20 years,
Okay.
but I need a donut. So, of course, this is my confirmation I'm probably pregnant. And then I start having some stomach pain. But if you Google it, because my Google MD is amazing and that certificate is hanging on a wall somewhere. Every woman is complaining that you had the worst stomach pain for 9 months. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a wimp. I don't know how to get through this type of pain. And they're like, oh, it was terrible. I couldn't get out of bed. Like these horror stories are there. And I waited a week and a half and I figured, okay, I should go to a doctor and just get confirmation that this is what it is. Because if not, this is really weird. Turns out, not pregnant, but my white blood cell count was off the charts.
Oh,
And they said, you need to stop, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go to the emergency room now. And we went, and I didn't even get the ability to finish filling out anything in registration. They dragged me to the back immediately,
wow.
which, Chicago hospital systems, you fill out that paperwork first. Right? And it turns out my appendix had burst. So I waited the week and a half
Oh my
to do
gosh.
that. Yeah. So I'm not a whim. That's exciting. But, fast forward a few weeks because you have to wait 6 weeks after they keep you in the hospital. They get the infection down. Then 6 weeks later, you can go back in and get surgery. So I did. And I go for my follow up. And I said, okay, do I need to bring anybody for this follow up? What do I need? And they said, just come yourself. You're absolutely fine. And in Chicago, I'm sitting in a brick building. There's barely any cell service. It is draining my phone to no end. And it's a Friday. They are 2 hours late for my appointment, which means now I'm going to be stuck in traffic going home, which I'm already concerned about. And they take me to the back and they say, okay, so you have cancer. I was like, no, not me. I don't have cancer. And they're like, well, we'll let this set in. Right. And it was that few minutes after we talk about the next pieces on I have to have surgery, et cetera. So I go out, I'm getting ready to make the appointment. I'm like, you know what? I'll just call in and get the appointment for surgery. I don't want to do it right now. I text my family. So I have cancer and my phone shuts off.
Oh my gosh.
So of course, right? This saga just keeps going and it takes me instead of the 45 minutes to get home, It takes me over 2 hours to get home sitting in Chicago traffic with, like, all of this information and no cell phone, no nothing,
By yourself, right?
all by myself.
Wow. I can relate to that. I went to an appointment by myself with got some information that was not good, and you can't right, you can't process that information.
No. And, that's where I also became an advocate for anytime you have a doctor's appointment, take somebody with you. Because
Yes.
when somebody tells you something about yourself, the answer is no, it's not possible. Or you miss half of what they're saying. And if you can't take somebody with you to appointments, I didn't even think about this at the time, but record it because
Good point. Yes.
you need those details to be able to get to the next stage of what you're going to do and how to do it.
Right. Wow, that is scary that you got that and got that information, you're by yourself and you're stuck in traffic. And that was sounds extremely stressful because I've been in the Chicago traffic before. So I mean, I'm just on top of that. I'm just being funny. But
Oh, yeah. And it's amazing because once you hit that rush hour, there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter if you take side streets versus you stay on the highway, it will take forever.
you got Lake Michigan near you, right?
Well, I could swim, but that wasn't going to help.
Right, right. That is, I mean, I'm glad you're sharing your story, and that was really hard to process, I'm sure. And so, obviously, you had to share that with your husband, and then you had to find out the next steps. And did you get any second opinions, or I was just curious.
Well, that's the thing. And I realize now I probably should have. But I tell my parents, and of course, they catch the next flight in. We go back to see the doctor to go have an in person conversation. And he had said to us, look, you can go see an oncologist. He was a GI surgeon.
Right.
That was his specialty. That is all that he does all day, every day. He said, but if you go to the oncologist, they do this sometimes. They do this surgery. They know what they're looking for, but they're not doing this all day, every day. I am a surgeon who does this all day, every day. The oncologist is on my team, but I'm the one performing the surgery. I was like, oh, I feel much more stable with
Right.
somebody who's done the surgery because I had just been opened up to,
Yeah.
for
That's
them
like,
to,
yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
I
I've just
still
got the
hadn't healed.
chills. Sorry. I got the chills. Right.
Yeah. So they went back in, and, what I found out now is there's so many different protocols for appendix cancer on what you do. And the appendix was gone. So next part was take out half the colon.
Okay.
And in some, because it was so small, this was just the start of cancer. They found it great. It's removed, but they wanted to take out half my colon. So we went ahead and we did that and all the lymph nodes around to test and see if anything was there. And one of the things that the community is a little divided on is, do you do the chemo and radiation regardless or do you not? And there, from everything I read, there is no definitive path. And I think we all have to figure out what makes sense for us, what we can go through. Do we need to do some testing to see if chemo will even work on us
Yes.
and be able to make the right next steps?
Yeah, I totally get that because everybody is different. Just same with your types of cancer you have, the types of food you should eat, right? It's some of it's genetic, some of it's, environmental, but we're all different. And I think being curious, that's what I've learned.
Mhm.
Asking questions.
Tons.
Yes, you got to ask questions to figure out what's right for you. And you got to trust the experts in this stuff.
And
And
if you have any doubts or they're not listening to you, find other experts.
exactly. You found a doctor that would let you ask questions, and that's the, most important thing is being curious, right? And planning have to have someone with you on some of these meetings. I learned that too, and
Yes.
because you just don't know what's gonna be said, and at the time when mine was gosh, the brain I have a rare brain tumor too. I don't even know if we could record properly on an iPhone back. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know if that
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
never crossed my mind, but just the thought of what you're going through there, everybody's got a scary thing, but I should say survive, excuse me, you're a warrior. Is that a better word?
I
Yeah.
don't use the word survive.
I said, "Don't say it, Bridget." Right. I don't like the word either, Rachel.
No, I
Just
think it's so
make it up.
discriminatory, and I don't go down the path of a cancer survivor because of that. I believe that all of us should have our battles honored, and that
Yes.
makes us warriors, and we stand in our truth that we have put everything on the battlefield, and we are standing among all of our peers.
You went through a lot, and it's hard on your body and your mental health. So, I mean, that's just very stressful. And then you're kinda dropped by your friends. Is that the right word? And
Yeah.
that's kinda there's I don't know. At the same time, you don't want the negative people around you. I have to look at it from that perspective maybe.
Gone.
Right? You got that right.
But I think at the same time, I'm a person who, if something happens, I take action.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
cancer happened, I take action. I created a nonprofit to go create good, to go make something happen, to go make impact. And really being able to give back and do the right thing in that because all of us can make an impact in some way, shape, or form. We can all impact others' lives around us. And how we do that and where we do that and why we do that, that's up to us. But we can go and do that tomorrow. There's nothing stopping
Right.
us.
Right, that you're a good role model, I think, and that's what people need more of stuff like these stories and how you overcame it, you fought it, right? And you're still
Yep.
here, and then you created
Yeah.
this nonprofit, and I think
And
I
then I took it a
yeah,
step further because I realized all of us, for one period of time while we're going through this, our identity becomes our diagnosis. It becomes the
correct,
doctors we're seeing. Like we're stuck in the mud of a diagnosis. And post cancer, they say, okay, no evidence of disease. Once you hear Ned, now you have to go figure out life again.
right.
And the person you were before cancer is 100% different than the person now. And we have to re-figure out who we are. So I've even made a playbook on how to rebrand ourselves. How do we figure out who we are? What are those words that really resonate with us that we can help form that brand identity around and get us out of bed every day?
That is a great thing, great idea. I like that, the self-branding or rebranding yourself. I don't t tell people don't know that I'm a warrior. I don't talk about it either that much, to be honest with you. And, but people wanna talk to me about it and share okay, sometimes I will, but it's everybody's different, and like you said, I've learned a lot about myself too, and, I like to blab, that's why I have a podcast. I like it. It's a great way to connect, and I've always deep down been a like to share stories. That's just how I'm wired, and
Mhm.
so I'm glad that you shared yours. This is just amazing. I One last question I have for you, because I see your bio. You always wanted to be a rock star, and is that
Yep.
why you incorporated that name into your company name?
So I have always wanted to be a rock star. I grew up loving Slash, right? Guns N' Roses had just come out. It was everything I wanted to be. But I have no musical talent. I'm really self aware about that. But in every interaction I've ever had with clients, they would always write back, "You're a rock star." And so that really became part of my personal brand. And believe it or not, when I had the opportunity to go make a company name, I was sitting out in Dewey Beach under the stars behind a music venue. There was an awesome band playing, and I'm looking at the star and the moon, and I wanted to incorporate that into the name too. And so, how do you bring stars and moon into Rockstar? Well, that makes Rockstar and Moon.
I love that. That is so cool, and I like that you are motivated by rock music and that you're the rock star. I mean, that is a great personality brand. I should say, you know what I'm saying? People know you because you're that way business wise and personal wise. And for those that are listening, do you have any one um takeaway or advice for them if they're dealing with an issue like cancer? I'm just curious.
Put the right words around it. So put hopeful words, put supportive words, and create a mantra around those words. There was a nonprofit that I found right before my surgery, and it was Love, Hope, Strength.
I've seen it.
And they gave leather wristbands that said love, hope, strength on them. And those were the three words that carried me through because that's what we all need. We need love, we need hope, and we need strength to get through this. So if we surround ourselves with the right positive words, they are uplifting and can change any of our mindsets.
That is great advice, and I did have a sign above in my family room that said "hope" and it lit up. Just
Yep.
gotta have that.
That's it. You
It's just
need the
from
right words around you
yes.
and they will uplift you.
Oh, that is so awesome, Rachel. So where can people learn more about you?
You can find more at rachelminion.com. You can find more about Beyond Basic Needs at beyondbasicneeds.org. And you can learn more about Rockstar Moon at rockstarmoon.com. And there's two R's at the end of Rockstar.
That's okay. I love this. This is awesome. I wanna definitely, stay connected with you because you are a true rock star and you're awesome. And for those that are listening, I will include those links in the description. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
Bye, guys.